Dune Awakening is a complex game with many unique, complicated systems and mechanics. In this video I'm bringing you 14 advanced things that the game doesn't teach you but will make your life on Arrakis easier. If you learned something new, consider subscribing and help me reach 30,000 subscribers. We are so close. It is a well-known fact that getting a Buggy as early as possible will make your progression easier. Mining with the Buggy cutaway will always bring more yield than a normal handheld cutaway. When mining with the Buggy you will always have poor efficiency, but there is a hidden trick. Jump out of the Buggy, equip handheld cutaway and hold it in your hands. Then jump into the Buggy and swap to the cutaway seat. Now when mining the node you get good efficiency, meaning the yield per node is increased. This might be a bug and not 100% intended, so use it until it's fixed. If possible, unlock Advanced Planetologist level 3 as soon as possible. Learn both of these passive skills at level 3 as they don't overlap, but instead they work together. If you combine the previous hidden trick with cutaway, you can mine an insane amount of yield per node. For example, on aluminum ore, without the two passive skills and using only normal Mark V handheld cutaway, you get 72 aluminum. When using normal Buggy Mark V cutaway, you get 135. And then using the hidden trick with the Buggy and activating both Planetologist passives at level 3, you get 189. The difference is very notable and will help you finish your farming session much faster. Do you have 30 plus generators powering your base, but you hate manually putting fuel cells into each of them every few days? Well, there is a much easier and faster solution. Walk into your sub-5 console and you will see this button. Hold it and your base will automatically refuel it with all the available fuel in the storage. And the best part is that it will evenly split up all the fuel across every single generator. For example, I have 4 generators and 400 fuel cells in a random storage box. Each generator can hold max 500 fuel cells, so when I use this button, the 400 fuel cells are evenly spread out across all 4 generators, meaning each of them has 100 fuel cells. It works the same for wind turbines as long as you have fuel in your storage. Using circuits is very much needed for big guilds and large bases. As a solo player you don't really have the need for, but I still had it set up just for refining ore, so I'll keep it simple. First build a storage box, open it, and above storage you will have left and right circuit. Left is input, right is output. Set the left one to circuit 2 and leave the right one on circuit 1. Then go to your refinery and open the storage. First you will need to fill up the 5 storage spots with any random item 5 times. I use light arrows. Then change the right circuit to number 2. This will clog up the storage, meaning that every refined ingot will be sent directly into the storage chest as long as circuits are set correctly. Repeat the process for as many storage chests and refineries you want. If you're playing with a group or even as solo, your base will need to be expanded as you progress. But you have limited default claimed land you can build on. Enter horizontal and vertical staking units. These can be placed right outside your initial land claim and expanded. The horizontal staking unit expands the land claim horizontally and vertical staking unit expands the land claim vertically. This is also a good way to increase your building limits. Opening your sub-5 console you can see how much machinery you can build, how much furniture and lights you can build. By increasing your land claim, these limits will also increase, allow you to building more objects. With expanding land claims comes a negative, which is increased taxes. If you don't know, you have to pay taxes, which can be checked on the sub-5 console. The bigger the land claim and base, the higher the taxes you have to pay each week. If you don't pay the taxes each week, your base will slowly start to decay. This system is in place to prevent players from keeping their bases forever after they go inactive or quit the game, to simply clear out the land on the siege for other active players. But don't worry, it takes a few weeks for your base to fully be destroyed. You can pay the taxes by flying to Harkov village or Arrakis and locating this NPC. Another fun thing you can do related to your base is using a compactor tool to clean off all the dust from your base after a sandstorm passes. If you care about the aesthetics and cleanliness of your base, simply wait for a sandstorm to pass, equip a compactor and clean off all the sand dust from your base. When you progress to the point where you unlock permanent dead stills and plan to build a few, you will notice the insane amount of power it needs to run. Even building one will shut down your entire base until you build more generators. But you already have 20 generators and you don't want to build more and spend more fuel on it. To lower your power consumption, you can simply turn off all the machinery you're not using on a daily basis. For example, all of your fabricators, spice refinery, chemical refineries, and any other machinery you don't use can be disabled by interacting with them and simply clicking disable. This way your death deals can operate without building more generators. This is also a good thing to do when you will be inactive for a longer period of time, disabling everything and just keeping your generators fueled. On the topic of RAM and death steals, you do not want to skip and ignore the story. You at least want to complete the first few trials, as you will unlock your third active ability and unlock the ability to use spice infused skills. After fully completing all the trials and finishing that part of the story until the end, you will unlock RAM and death steals, which is a very needed machine for water production. Plus the story is also very engaging and fun if you care about that aspects of the game, but even if you don't care, just pushing through it for the progression of your character and base is a big plus. On the topic of water production, another good way is using dew sites to harvest water from dew flowers. Most efficient is using industrial dew site and decal regions, but also knowing when to harvest the water. If you look at the top right corner, pay attention to this blue part when it reaches this point during nighttime. If you harvest water at any other time, it will have poor efficiency and you will miss out on a lot of water. Harvesting in the blue zone will have optimal harvest time, which will fill up around 4000 milliliters of water per literal one click, as long as you have a good spot with a lot of dew flowers to farm. In case you haven't figured it out by accident, there is zero vehicle damage when crashing. This allows for some crazy stunts with an ornithopter, but I'm also use it when farming ore with a buggy and I need to cut corners to get to my spot faster by simply driving off of a cliff. I use this most when I farmed pink crystals in the Haga Rift. I would just drive straight into the abyss until I landed somewhere taking zero damage. This kinda breaks immersion a little bit and makes it unrealistic, but at least there is a slow decay of vehicle parts when you use them. Another kinda unrealistic immersion breaking thing is this trick to fast travel and kinda teleport. When you go into the overworld map around the Haga Basin, you will notice several sectors that are split up. This indicates in which sector your character will spawn when entering back into the Haga Basin. For example, I go out by exiting from the north sector, indicated by my small ornithopter spawning there in the overworld map. When I circle around and enter in the southwest sector, my ornithopter and character spawn in the shell part of the map. And if I would go in from the east side, I would be on the complete opposite side of the map. This trick allows you to skip flying across the map in literal seconds, by simply going in and out of the overworld map, as it is much faster and saves a lot of fuel from normal flying, but it does break immersion and isn't really realistic. This fast traveling trick will also help you set up your second farming base in Shell area, as this is the only area where you can farm jasmine crystal to refine into duraluminum ingots. All you need is to create a small base with few storage chests, few generators and a place to store Buggy. The best spot is any of these small rock formations around the outside Shell area, as these rocks are not in the radiation zone. When moving ore to your main base, use an ornithopter with storage capacity and fast traveling trick, as you will want to build your second base close to the edge of the map, making it easy to go back and forth. As you can see, my second base is very close to the spawn sector when I come in from the overworld map. I exit in the north and fly back from the southwest. And the way you can transport a buggy to the second base is by disassembling it in your main base, grabbing all the parts, flying to the second base and assembling the buggy there. It is much faster, much more efficient to farm with Buggy, knowing all the mining tricks I told you at the start of the video, which will fill up your Buggy inventory before a radiation meter fills up. The rock formations are very close to each other, so you don't have to worry about sandworms attacking you, and the best part is that when you are mining jasmine from inside the Buggy, your radiation level is decreased by 1 in these high radiation spots. And there you have it, 14 things that I had to learn on my own by playing the game and experimenting. If you learned something new, consider subscribing and help me reach 30,000, and also consider watching some of my other Dune guides appearing on your screen.